Hello, you fabulous interior design professional. Welcome to Business of Design. I'm so glad you're here because if you're like me, you might be curious about how we can energetically impact our clients' homes. Forget the clients. I want to energetically impact my own home. And that's the conversation we're going to have today in episode 413, Earth, Water, Fire, Metal, and Wood with Lisa Morton. Now, Lisa is the founder of Pure Living with Lisa Morton, and this is where she helps busy women transform their homes into harmonious, nurturing spaces that support their well-being. She's the creator of Elevated Living School of Holistic Design and Feng Shui and the host of Feng Shui Living Podcast. She has a passion for blending intentional design and the principles of Feng Shui, and she would like to empower all of us to be able to bring ease, joy, and balance into our spaces, whether that's for ourselves or for our clients. You're going to love this conversation with Lisa. I learned a lot. You can reach her by following her on Instagram at Pure Living with Lisa Morton or her website, purelivingwithlisamorton.com. That's easy. Same everywhere, right? I love that. She does offer a Feng Shui certification course for those who are interested. I think that's fascinating. And her story is so cool because she was actually, for more than a decade, designing private jet interiors, which sounds super glamorous to me and something I would love to have done at some point. But she says that she had a really ugly meltdown in the middle of all that, and her health and well-being were hanging by a thread. And that's actually what drove her to get more into a holistic approach to design and to study Feng Shui. And now she's a master teacher, and she thinks being concerned and careful about energy in spaces is a high priority for all of us. So I think you're going to love this episode. I certainly did. We'll hear quick announcements from Cheryl Horn. And and let me see what else. I hope you're saving those dates in October for the retreat. I'll get Cheryl to tell you about it, but this is going to really change your life. Let's check in with Cheryl Horn.
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, the Business of Design retreat is back and it's coming up October 16th to 19th, 2025. So 4 days, 3 nights. It will be taking place in Santa Monica. We are bringing back all of the things that our participants love about our Business of Design retreat and adding in there a lot of what we have learned from running Business of Design boss groups. So we will be doing a deep dive analysis of your P&L, what's holding you back, looking at those numbers and figuring out what to do next. We are also going to base discussions and learnings around what our participants tell us that their biggest challenges are and what they want to focus on in the year ahead. So we really will be customizing this to those who attend and make sure that you get everything you want out of this retreat to really fast track your business and make the year that follows your best ever. Regular price is $39.90. Of course, members get preferred pricing and will save $500. And if you register before March 31st, it's only 50% down. So please join us. Business of Design retreat, again, happening in October. Dates and details are on the website. Registration has just opened up. And if you have any questions, please email me, cheryl@businessofdesign.com. We would love for you to join us in Santa Monica in October. See you there.
Lisa, good to see you.
Yes, so nice to be here with you.
We were just kind of joking before we got started that this morning was like every morning, which is to say what? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Busyness, the normal busyness, right? When you're running a business, family, all the things.
Trying to keep up and get everything done and,
Right?
actually get to bed on time at night.
Oh gosh. It's I have discovered that I'm really good at being a gerbil on a hamster wheel. I could just keep going. I guess gerbils are on gerbil wheels, a hamster on a hamster wheel. I don't know. Anyway, I'm really good if I stay in constant motion, constant stress, constant work. But I fall apart when that changes. It could be, for a vacation or 2 weeks ago, we got evacuated from our place in LA. Like it just right? It could be anything that throws me off my rhythm of like pounding, pounding, pounding. And I'm just like completely lost at what to do next. Like even getting dressed today, like, what should I wear? I don't know. I just don't know.
It's easy when we get in that routine of going, 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 right? And then to
Right.
snap out, it's so difficult. And I actually tell a lot of my clients and my just even friends, right? We have to like slow down slowly because if you're driving the car with the groceries in the back and you slam on the brakes, the eggs go flying and it's not a nice sensation, right? The same with your body, right? We just can't like hit the brakes and expect to sit and meditate for an hour, right? We have to like ease our body into that.
Okay, that seems like a philosophy that is consistent with what I know about you so far in your career. So tell everybody before we go any further what you do and what you're expert at and what we're going to talk about today.
Wow. So I've been in the interior design industry for 2 decades now, and I started my career doing private aircraft interiors. I was
Stop
traveling
it.
the world and doing amazing, cool things for interesting, wild people.
Can I just ask about that? I know I'm like, now
Sure.
I'm really taking you off course, but when I saw that, I was like, that is so cool. I've never done a plane. I've
Yeah.
never done a boat. I've never done an Airstream. And any one of those things would be on my bucket list, although ridiculous because they're so specialized and you just wouldn't dabble in it. But tell us a little bit about the experience of designing private jets.
It was beyond luxury. I mean, the bathrooms would have backlit onyx in them and like beautiful, beautiful mother of pearl inlays and stingray skin and, just beautiful textiles, beautiful fabrics. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that, to be able to put these materials in a plane flying up in the air, most of the fabrics are soaked in flame retardant chemicals
Right.
and the beautiful silk that you selected may end up crunchy when it's on a pillow. So it's a lot of just studying, learning how materials will work in a space. And just because you have the idea doesn't mean it will go in, doesn't mean it will work. It will pass all the rigorous testing.
And then what are the clients like? Like I suspect that there's this level of super high demand, but maybe some hands off until they just come in and say yes, no, no.
Most of them were always somewhat involved. I've always found my international clients, we would travel. I was invited to an amazing Passover celebration at a client's personal home once. I mean, they
Oh,
were so kind and wanted to be involved and loved being a part of this because their families would travel on their planes, right? It wasn't just for
yeah.
business. And, I found the American clients to be quite different. They wanted it, boom, 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 let's get it done. It was just a
Oh,
very different approach to it. They were all extremely interesting individuals.
yeah. Yeah.
And some people were wonderful, others not so great, but
Yeah.
you learned a lot.
I'm sure. I'm sure it's a bit like the celebrity industry. So there's some pluses and minuses, but somehow doing that work, which sounds glamorous and fabulous and wonderful to those of us who have no idea what it takes, you hit a wall. And tell us about that, and then I'll let you finish and tell us where it took you.
Yeah, so I found myself, I mean, my life, I was single, especially when I started diving into this work. And then I got married and, but my life was devoted to this job.
Yeah.
I was on call all the time. Someone wanted to fly in from Africa to
Yeah.
on a Sunday to select their materials. I had to be there. I had to Monday morning, I'd go into work on a random day and go home, pack your bag. You're going to Paris for 2 weeks. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, you could never have any type of life. Um, Plus the pressure. It was outrageous cost of materials. And
Mm.
the perfectionist in me, which I know a lot of designers struggle with perfectionism,
Yes.
it was incredibly hard. And I always say just being a child of the 80s and 90s, I did not, we didn't sit around talking about healthy stress reduction techniques at the dining table.
No, we didn't. We sure
You know,
didn't.
yeah,
Oh
so
my gosh.
I didn't have those skills those tools that I really needed. And I ended up in a very, very, very dark space. Just overcome with anxiety, depression, it was debilitating.
Wow.
I was at work every day. I would have a panic attack and have to hide in the supply closet or the bathroom. And you know what that's like when you're that perfectionist. And I was the lead designer. I did all the amazing jobs they gave me because they trusted me. And here I was feeling like a puddle on the floor.
Wow. And how do you ever get the courage to walk away from that? Because that sounds like a golden handcuff.
Mhm.
You're never going to get anything that exciting again. Like, what do you do? Did you run into that from people? Like, are you kidding, Lisa? Take a vacation and then get back at it. Like, what did people around you say about your decision to leave that world?
It was hard. It was hard.
Yeah.
I was overcome with shame, honestly, because I couldn't cut it, right?
Yeah,
The
I get that.
hardworking person in me, like, couldn't cut it.
Yeah.
And it was hard, but I also knew I needed to take care of myself. You know, I
Right.
was doing all those things you're supposed to do. I was doing the yoga. I was doing the meditation. I was walking every day, working with my therapist. Like, what else can I do?
Right.
I'm not okay. Something has to give.
Right. So was it an abrupt, immediate, quit, and then you figured out what came next, or how did you transition? Tell us what you're doing now and how you transitioned.
So I actually left. It was a great time for my husband and I he got a job offer out of state. We're like, this is a great time to reset, right?
Yeah.
So we took this and we moved and had a refresh moment. And I decided to start my own business. It was tough. It was 2010, not a
Right.
great time to be starting a business.
Right.
But I'm like, I want to do this. This is my passion of helping people in their interior spaces. So I have to figure out a way to do this. And I just pushed through and I started doing traditional approach to interior design, like you'd expect, residential design. Um, but then in my own healing journey, I knew I wanted to do more. I had started to explore my environment. And as I said, I was doing all those things, but there was still something missing. And now I look back at my home, there was no way it was supporting me energetically. I had the wrong colors, the wrong patterns, things that weren't, bringing me ease and comfort when I needed it most. So,
Interesting.
yeah,
So tell me how you now bring that set of eyes to clients. And I guess we're all thinking like, what does it mean for us? How can we do better at energetically supporting our clients?
sure. So, I started studying a holistic approach to interior design, really connecting with natural materials. I've always been a lover of nature, and I feel that connection when I'm outdoors. And so started kind of just reading a ton of books. And then I started learning about Feng Shui, and I did a little study on my own. And I'll be the first one to say, I thought it was a little woo, a little weird until I really dove in. And did my first training in 2014. And this past year, I've continued to train. And this past year, I became a master teacher. So I can
Wow.
teach other people how to do this work. And it does feel, it can feel woo because it feels magical, right? But it's really science. It's arranging things and selecting specific objects to cue your body to feeling relaxed, to relieve stress, to cue your body into feeling artistic, right? And arrangement. A lot of people think, oh, it's just clutter clearing, but it's also arrangement. It's being very mindful of the colors, the patterns, the textures that you put into an environment. So much more.
It's so interesting. Maybe 1980, 19, I wasn't even a designer in 1980. What am I talking about? It was 90s. Feng Shui was big. Everybody was like, "Oh, I took a weekend course and now I'm a Feng Shui person." And I didn't get any of it. And then I had a job where I got to go to Japan and Korea and China and lots of places where they practice Feng Shui. And I got to see it in action. And I thought there is something to this, but I don't think it's the kind of thing where you just can take a weekend course and become a master.
Mhm.
However, there's probably a few things you can teach all of us about how to impact our clients' homes and our spaces, right? Putting
Sure.
our own oxygen mask on first.
Right.
What if you could think of a few things off the top of your head, Lisa, what are some things that we might consider right away?
I always tell my clients the very first thing is to begin to look at your home with a different lens. Because it's so often we go in and we look at it as, we just see everything all the time. We're not grasping, we're not connecting with the artwork on the wall and what it represents, right? We're just kind of viewing it as one. And I know as a designer, you can kind of go in, well, there's a blue sofa, right? There's a wooden table. What energy does that evoke? Does the sofa, is it plush? Is it textural? Does it have a beautiful throw on the back that makes you want to curl up with a cup of tea? Is that what your client needs? Or do they want more of a formal feeling, clean lines? What kind of fabric? Is it a gray? We have this 5 element system in Feng Shui: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And we want to bring a balance of all of these elements into the environment. But I'll share with you my favorite place to approach, and that is the front door.
Okay. Your
Well,
exterior door, the exterior to your home, condo, apartment as well, or just
wherever.
curb appeal? Okay,
Yeah,
wherever.
whatever the architectural front door of your space is. And I know a lot of people use the garage, right? I'm even guilty of come and go in the garage, but I want you to use your front door. I want you to make it really beautiful. In Feng Shui, we consider this the mouth of qi. So this is the mouth where energy comes in. We want energy, we want new opportunities, new clients, new great, amazing projects coming towards us. So use
Yes.
your front door. Make it light and bright. Make sure the numbers are visible. Make sure it has a fresh coat of paint and a beautiful welcome wreath. The rug is fresh outside and it just feels glistening, sparkling, and welcoming. That alone is huge to bringing good energy in.
Okay, and we can all kind of think about that as we're like approaching our clients' homes. Often, we're called in to do the living room or the kitchen or whatever, but adding on the front door is not a big deal,
Mhm.
like that's an easy upsell, I
That is
guess.
definitely an easy upsell. Add,
Yeah.
a piece or two of artwork, a fresh rug just inside. Have a moment when they walk inside. We do always want to avoid a mirror at the front door. Now, I know the designer side
What?
of me. I
Stop
know.
it. No, no, sorry. Thanks for coming on the show. Bye. Really? Why?
I get it. Like I want to check, make sure my lipstick is fine, everything's good. But it actually sends that good chi that comes in back out the door. So
What
I
if
tell
it's
everyone six
adjacent to
weeks.
the door?
If it's off to a side, you can't see it from as you walk in, then you're fine.
I
Here's
don't
my little
know.
secret. If I can't find a spot for a mirror, I'll hide one in the coat closet.
Yeah,
Maybe on the
yeah.
back of the door so you can just primp real quick before you head out. But
Uh,
it's very important. And like I said, the 6 week thing. I tell my clients, give it 6 weeks. If you don't like it, move it back, right? But
right,
give it 6 weeks. I think once you move that mirror and replace it with a beautiful piece of artwork that welcomes your guests in, that sets the tone, that tells them who you are,
right.
that it feels better and you'll notice it.
I have a mirror right here I'm thinking of, but it's quite slim and it's right up against the door. But when you walk in, if you turn to the left, you can see it. So, and I think it's pretty fixed. Can I add a piece of artwork on top of it? Could I put
You
art over it?
you could do something near it to draw your eye away from it so that your eye
Oh,
goes to the beautiful artwork and not to the mirror. That would help.
okay. All
Mhm.
right. Oh man, I didn't think you were going to
Mm.
hit us with something impossible right off the bat, Lisa. I don't know. I thought this was supposed to decrease my stress, not increase my
Take a big
stress.
breath. If it feels too stressful, that's not
Right.
for you, right?
Right. But tell me, you said when looked around your home, it wasn't supporting you energetically. Can you give us some more examples? You said wrong paint colors, wrong patterns. And does your energy change from room to room? Like, do you need peace and calm in the bathroom, but dynamic family, vibrancy in the dining room? How does that work?
So every person needs something different in their environment. So you might need one thing in your dining room. Your kids might need something else. If they're crazy and frazzled and running around, look at the materials around. Does it have a lot of fire element? Fire
Mm,
lifts our energy. I struggled at that time in my life. I had such horrible anxiety, and my bedroom had red in it. No
mm,
wonder I wasn't sleeping. I
Right.
couldn't get to sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. I had too much of a fire element. I also had a lot of a wood element, which is plants, flowers, the color green. So wood element is also a little higher energy, not as much as a fire element, but
Okay.
the wood keeps us elevated. So we can't have so much of that when we need to calm and relax and rest, right? The opposite would be an earth element. Beige, tan, brown, chocolatey, those colors, you feel like milk chocolate, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those textural wovens bring us grounded and make us feel good. We also have the water element, which is really beneficial. Blues and blacks and fluid feeling. It brings creativity and inspiration. So that's kind of the opposite of the fire element being really high energy.
Interesting that black is a water element.
But if you
Yeah.
think, if you think about it this way, if you were to look out in the ocean, you see kind
Mm.
of blue on top, and then it gets deeper, and then it gets deeper, and navy blue, and the depths of the ocean, it's black.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So if I want to create a calm space, you're saying I could even have a room that's black.
Could have
That would
black in
be
there,
that would
definitely.
be so much more calm than a room that's red.
Exactly.
Interesting. How
Mhm.
can you tell when you're new at this that your client's home or your home isn't working energetically? What are some things you kind of assess when you walk in the door?
Number one, if their home is not working for them, there will probably be a lot of clutter.
Hmm.
Whether they're kind of a clutter bug or not, right? They're going to have more clutter. They're going to have more just issues in their life. A lot of people, they call me because they're not sleeping, dealing with illness, divorce, loss of a family member. These big things are happening and their
Right.
life is there's an imbalance. So we need our environment to bring our bodies back into into balance because our bodies and our environment is constantly it's reciprocal. It's feeding off one another.
Hmm.
So when we can have our environment support our bodies during stressful times, during difficult times, it just makes everything so much easier. And you'll see less arguments, less frustration, less stress, less negative feelings when your environment is in balance.
That reminds me, years and years ago, I remember I used to work at the show, Believe It or Not, Ripley's Believe It or Not, Believe It or Not.
Wow.
And one of the stories that we did was about prisons that were all painted this particular pink. I feel like it was called Brew Baker Pink or something. And it was supposed to be calming for the inmates, but it turned out that it's initially calming and then it fired everybody up. And I can't remember all the science behind it, but we're like, that's fascinating. So they had to actually get rid of that pink color in the
I've heard of
prisons.
that. I believe there is some college football stadiums that had their opponents' locker room painted pink.
Oh my gosh, really? That's
Look at these big
hilarious.
football guys in
Yeah,
pink
because they need
shirts,
more testosterone, those guys.
right?
Oh my gosh, you actually train people, you said now to do
Hmm.
feng shui. Who is this right for? Who would be an ideal candidate for this?
I mean, personally, I love sharing this with interior designers because I think it's an amazing element to be able to add to your offering, to your services. I believe that is the future of so much design. So many younger generations, they want to know about this. They want to know how
Mm.
these colors are going to affect them, how it's going to affect their children, their productivity in their home office or whatever, right? Um, but it's also real estate agents, clutter clearing coaches. I even have life coaches. It's a great way to approach your space if you love interior spaces, but also if you just really want to help people.
Right. So many of us, I think, have had that client who's a clutter bug. And it's really distressing when you can't get them to let go of stuff. How do you help your clients trust you to let go of things?
It's really going slow and being gentle. I know how frustrating it can be to walk in and see this. You're trying to make this beautiful space for them. You're trying to help them make a space that's more functional and there's clutter. But there's so many deep, deep emotions connected to that clutter,
Mhm.
and it can be really hard. I suggested to a lot of my clients to find a really good therapist to support them because they can need a lot of help. And sometimes it's multiple items of clutter throughout, but it's one really symbolic piece that's stopping them, that
Huh.
has them stuck in their way. I had a client years ago that she was looking to move, and she had some boxes in the basement from her father who had passed, and she just every time she'd even so much as walk past the basement door, she'd get this feeling, right?
Wow.
And our spaces are constantly telling our subconscious, right? And influencing our subconscious, whether we realize it or not. So even when she wasn't noticing that door with the boxes downstairs, her body was still reacting to it.
That's
So
fascinating.
just the one box. I worked with her a long time to be prepared and think about what could come in, because by releasing clutter, I know it sounds woo and everything, but by releasing clutter, you're actually making space for
Hmm.
something new to come in. So we ended up doing that, getting rid of the box. She went through it. She's like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Right. And you live for years with this discomfort,
Mhm.
and then you realize, ah, I should have done that a long time ago.
No, and it feels so good when you can get through it. But it does, it brings on depression, so much stress,
Yeah.
a lot of heavy, heavy emotions.
I've had a couple of clients, but one of them was recently, which is what made me think of it, where they wanted us to build some more built-ins for them. But there was so much clutter. I'm like, we could build built-ins in every room. You'll just fill it up. Like you could tell that there was just buying a lot of crap online and boxes unopened or it's just
Mhm.
I couldn't do it. I
You
just
know,
said it's
there's a wonderful group of, clutter clearing coaches out there, right? There's
mm.
organizations. Hire these people to help you. They are professionals.
That's a really good idea. That's what I should have done. I should have said, I'm not qualified to help you with all of this, but here's somebody who is, and I
Mhm.
can help once they're through, they can pass the baton to me. That's an interesting option. I never thought about that. I didn't know there were clutter clearing coaches.
Oh, yes, yes. There's some great organizations. Just Google, and they're, professional organizers. I believe it's National Organization of Professional Organizers. They're in every city. It's a great thing, Also, so many moms want to do it all,
Mhm.
right? They want to do it all. They want to be super mom and have everything done, make everybody a healthy meal with all their dietary restrictions, everybody's to bed on time, everything, and work and do all these things, right? I feel like in the past couple years, one of the biggest things that I've noticed that I've done is recommended hire a cleaning crew,
Yeah,
or more often. Maybe they have someone come in once a month, get help. You can't do it all. You
you
can't
can't.
do it all. And
No.
I feel like a lot of women are struggling with that. And I mean, we do. We want to do it all. But everybody needs
Well,
help.
there are rewards for seemingly being able to do it all, right? We're constantly inundated with images of people who seemingly are able to do it all. But I think if you dig a little bit beneath the surface, you might find that they're just like us and struggling in the exact same way. So you mentioned there are five elements that Feng Shui deals with, and you've talked about a couple of them, but just will you go through the five and maybe give us a few things we can look for within each element?
Yes. So we'll start with the wood element. I mentioned that's plants, green, vertical stripes, right? This infuses an energy of moving onward and upward. If you're taking on a new project, you might want to buy a new green plant and put it on your desk to symbolize this moving forward, regrowth, renewal. It's great if anyone's healing from an illness.
Mhm.
We always think of taking flowers to the hospital is just a nice gesture, but it's actually cueing their body to start healing itself.
Interesting.
Nature's
Wow.
magical.
Okay, I love that. And vertical stripes, that sort of makes sense. A
Vertical
kind of a
stripes. Yeah, think of
soaring,
tall trees
yeah, yeah,
growing up.
beautiful.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's
So
wood.
fire,
And
we talked fire is light and bright. And when you get the winter flaws and that seasonal affective disorder, you want to bring in a fire element. You want to lift your energy. You have a home workout studio. You want to bring in those bright colors, red, fuchsia, maybe even orange, right? To lift your energy. That will help you just naturally naturally be ready to run on the treadmill. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
let's
Okay.
see,
How
we have
about orange
earth.
yoga pants? Could I do that?
Hey, that works. Yeah,
Rust colored yoga pants. I just got some rust colored yoga pants. We'll see
I
if it
love
makes a
it.
difference when I show up on Tuesday.
I love it. So we have water element is all about fluidity, creativity, inspiration. If you are feeling stuck creatively, say you're working on a project and you're like, I just don't know what other textures or colors to bring in, get some blue. Surround yourself with blue. I'm a big fan of also wearing it on my body, but
Hmm.
also in my peripheral vision. So if I
Interesting.
need an element to support me, I might grab a throw and put it across the back of my chair and maybe drape it over my shoulders as I'm on at my desk working.
Interesting.
Mhm.
And I assume that the pattern that's behind you is neither water nor wood. If you're watching on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, it's a geometric angular pattern that's behind you, a bit of metallic in there.
So we'll touch on the one of these elements in a minute, but this is actually a blend of a metal element. So the metal element is all about focus and being very precise. If you have a deadline for work, bring in the metal element. Any type of metal object, the colors of gray or white or
Mhm.
pastel, they
I've
help
got
us
a
really
lot of
hone in.
metal on projects in the last little while. Too much metal, I think, in my life.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Right?
Well, that can kind of bring frustration. You get stuck, right? You don't have that fluid creativity that water
Yes.
brings you.
Right.
Okay. So, actually, the triangular shape introduces a fire element. If you think about a triangle, it looks like um, fire, like
Yeah.
a
It's
flame.
like an
If you were to
icon
build a
for fire.
fire,
Yeah,
the shape
true.
of the triangle. So let's see, we did metal and then earth. So we have the earth element is grounding, centering. When you're feeling like a paper bag floating in the wind because you're so stressed out, well, how do I get all these projects done on time? You
Right.
need to get grounded. Beige, tan, brown, cream, chocolate, those earthy colors. If you were to dig down into the earth, what colors would you see?
Right.
As well as low horizontal furniture, rectangular shapes, anything that's lower to the ground. You just, when you're in those spaces, you'll feel your feet root down and your shoulders drop and
Right.
but
And do you go for a mix in every room or and is there one that takes the precedent? Like in a room, is it like more water, but I have the other elements in there as well?
you always want to think about the purpose of the space, right? Because we need a spa to feel very calming and very yin in energy,
Mhm.
quiet, still, small, subdued. But then if you think of a casino, right? It needs to be loud. If it wasn't loud, light, bright, bright, loud music and flashing signs, right? It wouldn't have the energy of a casino, right? So
Right.
you need to think about what you need in that space. You need more focus. Well, then that's when you need more metal element. We want all elements somewhat present in a space,
Right.
but you can think about your goal for the space. Do you want it calming? Is it a home yoga meditation room or is it a gym,
Right.
right? Think about the energy that people
Interesting.
need to have in the space.
I often talk to my clients about the mood, and I suppose that that's a similar, I'm kind of getting there in a different way, but the way you put it is really interesting. How long is the training if somebody wanted to sign up and take a course through you?
Sure. It's 4 weeks online, and then
Okay.
it's a 4-day immersive retreat experience where we dive deep and you get to experience. And in my upcoming training, it's in my hometown, the 4-day training. You get to come to my home and see and experience the feng shui of my own space. Um,
Lovely.
it's a beautiful, on a retreat center out in the woods, and we can connect with nature. It's intimate. I only take no more than 6 people for a training for
Right.
certification. So then you will be an instinctive feng shui certified professional.
Amazing. And where do you live?
I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana, a couple hours outside of Chicago.
Okay. Oh, beautiful. All right. And do you have a course coming up?
I do, and it kicks off in March, the online
Okay.
portion.
The online portion in March, and then you're going to wait for it to warm up for the 4-day interactive. Yeah.
Yes. I actually I recently listened to your episode about the fires and everything, and my heart went out. And we actually
Mm.
lost our second home in Florida to Hurricane Helene.
Oh
So I'm experiencing
no.
winter for the first time in many years.
Right,
And
right.
I was actually supposed to have a training down there um this winter, and we had to cancel it because
Oh
the
yeah.
place is gone. So it's just
It's
so
such a
much.
terrible shock to, I mean, we were so lucky we didn't lose everything, but we know people who did. And it's just,
Mhm.
they're sort of stunned and shock. And it's like death by 1,000 cuts. They're thinking about, oh, everybody's saying you got out alive. That's all that matters. Well, it is, but like my girlfriend had these Christmas decorations that she's had for 40 years and
Oh,
raised her kids with. And they all love their decorations. It's very, that's
I
all
get it.
gone. Like it's just,
We were fortunate it wasn't our main home, but my neighbors it was. I helped them
yeah.
dry their photos. Every 5 feet of water in our homes, and all my neighbors are displaced, and it keeps, that was 4 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And nobody, we're still working on getting permits and everything, and people
No.
are living with other family members. My one neighbor is living in an RV out front because they have
Oh,
nowhere to go. And I'm
right.
thinking about the amount of people between Florida, Carolinas, and California, the amount of people at this time who are displaced and don't have a home
Wow.
is mind-blowing.
Really is. We're so lucky that we even get to be interior design professionals because we're working with people who have the greatest luxury in the world, which is a roof over their head, right? So it really does remind you how important the work we do is. I occasionally think that what I do is superficial. I'm not, saving the world by curing cancer, but it's not superficial at all because I'm supporting the person who is curing cancer. I'm creating an environment where
Exactly.
they can get the sleep they need so they can cure cancer.
Yes, that's perfect.
Ah,
I love
part
that
of it,
connection.
part of a chain. Well, this was lovely. Thank you so, so much. This course is quite tempting. Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to read more about it. And we like to end every episode with something we call design intervention, just a great piece of advice you would like to leave everybody with.
Ooh. Well, this is maybe not a feng shui thing, but I have to say I've been thinking about this a lot. And I was flipping through a bunch of different episodes before we, did this. And you had an episode very early on, and it was talking about preparing and knowing that there will be mistakes and sharing that with your client. I think I want to say it was like episode 9.
Oh,
It was an
wow.
old one, but it was so good. And I feel like it's so important whether you're doing feng shui, whether you're doing clutter clearing, whether you're doing home organization or a beautiful design in the space, setting, you know, expectation.
Love it. I'm writing
Setting
it down.
expectations for your clients is so important. And I think it isn't done as well as it could be with some people. I think
Yeah.
we need to, because we want it to be beautiful and go flawless, but that's just not reality.
Not going to happen. Not anyway, not yet. Not for me. I don't know. Maybe someone has some magic formula. I don't think so.
But
I
really, it's
don't think so.
everything we do is custom, right? There's no
Yeah.
bathroom remodel in a box. There's no such
No.
thing. So when and I think our clients need to understand that they think we just have these magical tools and can pull anything together.
Right?
And sometimes it comes together beautifully, but
Yeah. And sometimes we make it look so easy. Like I found myself in a position maybe 5, 6 years ago where I was too often making it look too easy. And they were never hearing about the bad stuff. And then so when something did go wrong, they'd be like shocked. So I thought, no, 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 this is not good. I'm going to have to start telling them, here's what happened today on site. It was a big deal. We solved it, but that's what we're dealing with. So that at the end of the day, I love when clients say, "Oh, I'm so glad you were there and not me." Yay! Exactly right, honey. Exactly right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It was amazing to meet you.
thank you.